The National Electrical Code, or NEC, does address the placement of breakers, especially those serving large loads, within a residential service panel. While the NEC doesn't dictate a specific physical location, such as requiring all large load breakers to be at the top or bottom of the panel, it does establish requirements that influence their placement and installation. The primary concern is ensuring proper load balancing and minimizing the risk of overloading any single phase or busbar within the panel. Load balancing is critical in a split-phase electrical system commonly found in residences. A split-phase system typically consists of two 120 volts lines that are 180 degrees out of phase, providing 240 volts between them. The service panel distributes these two phases to various circuits throughout the house. Large appliances such as electric ranges, dryers, water heaters, and air conditioners often operate at 240 volts and are connected to both phases. Smaller loads, like lights and receptacles, operate at 120 volts and are connected to only one of the two phases. Proper load balancing means distributing the 120 volts loads as evenly as possible between the two phases. This minimizes the current imbalance in the neutral conductor and prevents overloading either phase. The NEC addresses load balancing in several sections. Section 220.100 provides general requirements for calculating branch circuit, feeder, and service loads. It requires that the load be evenly proportioned among the branch circuits within the panel. This is further emphasized in Section 220.11, which outlines the method for calculating the neutral load. An unbalanced load can lead to several problems. It can cause voltage drops in the heavily loaded phase, affecting the performance of appliances and equipment. It can also overheat the neutral conductor, potentially leading to a fire hazard. To ensure proper load balancing, electricians typically alternate the connection of 120 volt circuits between the two phases in the service panel. This is often achieved by placing breakers for 120 volt circuits on alternating sides of the panel. The NEC also requires that the panel's load be calculated and documented. This calculation determines the total demand on the service and ensures that the service is adequately sized to handle the load. Section 220.87 allows for an optional method to determine the existing load of a dwelling unit. This method involves measuring the maximum demand over a specific period. Understanding the panel's load and its distribution is crucial for identifying potential overloading issues. If the load calculation indicates that the service is nearing its capacity, it may be necessary to upgrade the service or implement load shedding measures. Load shedding involves turning off non-essential loads during peak demand periods to reduce the overall load in the system. In addition to load balancing, the NEC also addresses the physical installation of breakers in the service panel. Section 408.36 requires that all circuit breakers be clearly marked to indicate their purpose. This helps in identifying the correct breaker to turn off when servicing a circuit or appliance. The markings must be durable and easily readable. Section 408.38 covers the arrangement of circuit breakers within the panel. While it doesn't mandate a specific arrangement, it requires that the breakers be installed in a neat and workmanlike manner. This means that the breakers should be aligned properly and the wiring should be neatly routed and secured. Proper labeling and arrangement make it easier to troubleshoot and maintain the electrical system. Overcurrent protection is another critical aspect of breaker placement. The NEC requires that each circuit be protected by an overcurrent device, such as a circuit breaker or fuse. The size of the overcurrent device must be matched to the ampacity of the circuit conductors. Section 240.4 specifies the requirements for overcurrent protection. It prohibits the use of overcurrent devices that are larger than the ampacity of the conductors they protect. Using an oversized breaker can allow excessive current to flow through the conductors, potentially overheating them and causing a fire. Conversely, using an undersized breaker can cause nuisance tripping, interrupting the power supply unnecessarily. The NEC also addresses the installation of ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, and arc fault circuit interrupters, or RFCIs. GFCIs are required in locations where there is a high risk of electric shock, such as bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoor areas. SIs are required to protect against arc faults, which are a common cause of electrical fires. Sections 210.8 and 210.12 specify the requirements for GFCI and FSI protection, respectively. GFCIs and FSIs are typically installed as circuit breakers in the service panel. Their placement is often dictated by the location of the circuits they protect. For example, a GFCI breaker protecting a bathroom receptacle would be placed in the panel and connected to the corresponding circuit. In summary, while the NEC doesn't explicitly dictate the physical location of large load breakers within a residential service panel, it establishes requirements for load balancing, overcurrent protection, and the installation of GFCIs and FSIs that influence their placement. Proper load balancing ensures that the load is evenly distributed between the two phases of the split-phase system. Overcurrent protection ensures that each circuit is protected by an appropriately sized breaker or fuse. GFCIs and FSIs provide protection against electric shock and arc faults, respectively. Adhering to these NEC requirements is essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of the electrical system. This includes understanding panel load and being able to calculate the size of the load. It also entails being able to physically install the electrical components as per manufacturer's directions and as per the codes. A good installation also entails proper labeling for maintenance. It's important to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that the electrical installation complies with the NEC and local codes. Understanding how the NEC affects electrical installations is critical for ensuring the safety and functionality of electrical systems. The electrical panel should be inspected regularly for any signs of damage, overheating, or loose connections. If any issues are found, they should be addressed promptly by a qualified electrician. Regular maintenance can help prevent electrical problems and ensure the long-term reliability of the electrical system. Circuit breakers should be tested periodically to ensure that they are functioning properly. This can be done by manually tripping the breakers and verifying that they interrupt the power supply. If a breaker fails to trip, it should be replaced immediately. Additionally, ensure the panel is properly grounded. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, tripping the overcurrent device and preventing electrical shock. The grounding system should be inspected regularly to ensure that it is intact and functioning properly. This includes checking the grounding electrode conductor, the grounding busbar in the service panel, and the grounding connections at receptacles and appliances. All electrical work should be performed by a qualified electrician who is familiar with NEC and local code. Attempting to perform electrical work without the necessary knowledge and experience can be dangerous and can lead to serious injury or property damage. When working on electrical systems, always follow safe work practices. This includes turning off the power to the circuit being worked on, using insulated tools, and wearing appropriate personal protective equipment such as safety glasses and gloves. Consider the working space around the panel. Section 110.26 of the NEC specifies the requirements for working space around electrical equipment. It requires that there be sufficient space to safely operate and maintain the equipment. The working space must be clear of obstructions and must provide adequate headroom. Furthermore, electrical panels should be protected from physical damage. They should be installed in locations where they are not likely to be struck by vehicles or other objects. If the panel is installed in a location where it is exposed to physical damage, it should be protected by a barrier or enclosure. The NEC also addresses the use of surge protective devices, or SPDs. SPD protect electrical equipment from voltage surges, which can be caused by lightning strikes, power grid switching, or other disturbances. SPD are typically installed at the service entrance to protect the entire electrical system. Section 285 specifies the requirements for SPD. Also consider the environmental conditions where the panel is installed. If the panel is installed in a damp or wet location, it must be protected from moisture. This can be achieved by using a weatherproof enclosure or by installing the panel in a location where it is not exposed to direct rain or snow. If the panel is installed in a corrosive environment, it must be protected from corrosion. This can be achieved by using a corrosion-resistant enclosure or by applying a protective coating to the panel. And it is critical to stay up to date with the latest edition of the NEC. The NEC is updated every 3 years to reflect changes in technology and safety practices. It is important to stay up to date with the latest edition of the NEC to ensure that electrical installations comply with the most current requirements. In addition to the NEC, there may be local codes and regulations that apply to electrical installations. These local codes may be more stringent than the NEC and must be followed. It is important to check with the local building department or electrical inspector to determine the applicable codes and regulations. The NEC provides a comprehensive set of requirements for electrical installations. By following these requirements, you can ensure the safety and reliability of the electrical system. However, it is important to remember that the NEC is not a substitute for professional judgment. Electrical work should always be performed by a qualified electrician who is familiar with the NEC and local codes. Furthermore, remember to keep panels closed and secured. The panel cover should be securely fastened to prevent accidental contact with live parts. The panel cover should also be labeled with a warning about the presence of hazardous voltage. Also, use the right type of breakers. Only use circuit breakers that are listed and labeled for use in the specific service panel. Using the wrong type of breaker can create a safety hazard and can damage the electrical system. Also, be aware of the AIC rating of the breakers. The AIC rating of a circuit breaker indicates the amount of fault current that the breaker can safely interrupt. The AIC rating of the breakers in the service panel must be equal to or greater than the available fault current at the service entrance. A qualified electrician can perform a fault current study to determine the available fault current. Consider the wire bending space within the panel. Section 312.6 of the NEC specifies the requirements for wire bending space at terminals. Sufficient wire bending space is necessary to allow the conductors to be properly routed and terminated. Insufficient wire bending space can make it difficult to install the conductors and can increase the risk of damage to the conductors. When working on electrical panels, always be aware of the potential hazards. Electrical panels contain live parts that can cause serious injury or death if contacted. Always turn off the power to the panel before working on it and always use insulated tools. Also consider future expansion. When installing a service panel, it is important to consider the potential for future expansion. The panel should be sized to accommodate the anticipated future load. It is also important to leave space in the panel for additional breakers. Also consider energy efficiency. When selecting electrical equipment, consider energy efficiency. Energy-efficient equipment can save money on energy bills and can reduce the environmental impact of the electrical system. Finally, remember documentation. Keep accurate records of all electrical work performed in the system. This includes the location of circuits, the size of conductors, and the ratings of overcurrent devices. Accurate documentation can be helpful for troubleshooting and maintenance. Remember that this overview is not exhaustive, and the NEC is a complex document. Always consult the latest edition of the NEC and local codes for complete and accurate information.